Hello, this is our first video on YouTube channel Friday at Night. I'm your host, or co-host, I guess, Ariel.
David.
Rachel.
And Jenny.
It's Jenny with an I, right?
Yeah.
Alright. So the first video, I guess, that we're going to be doing, the first movie review that we're doing is going to be The Lodge. And just sort of a synopsis of our channel is going to be just reviewing horror movies, new ones, old ones, good ones, bad ones, and some YouTube ones maybe at some point.
No, definitely.
YouTube one.
we got like short horror films that they make that are freaking awesome, and I really eventually want to touch on like the stop motion horror stuff.
We got
that is
stop motion
great.
ones.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But for this episode, we're going to be doing, like I said, I think the first one will be The Lodge. And Jenny, go ahead and take it away with the synopsis.
The Lodge is a 2019 psychological horror film. Its plot follows a soon-to-be stepmother who, alone with her fiancé's 2 children, becomes stranded at their rural lodge during Christmas. There, she and the children experience a number of unexplained events that seem to be connected to her past.
Did you write that yourself?
No.
And who's the director?
It's directed by Veronica Franz and Severin Fiala. Sorry if I'm butchering these names.
Are they, who?
I'm not sure.
They American?
I don't think so.
That's a good
It
movie.
sounded-
Look it up.
Click on their names.
It stars Jaden Martle from It and Alicia Silverstone from Clueless.
Oh man, that's old school.
As if.
What's Clueless?
You've never seen
Oh my gosh.
Holy
Yes.
moly. Well, it's not really. I wouldn't say it's your kind of movie,
It's a 90s
but
classic.
it's like a 90s like girly chick flicky like.
it's a,
I think
oh,
I
it's
think
a
I know what
teen
you're
movie.
talking
It's
about.
great.
Yeah, teen movie. It's not a chick flick. It's a teen movie. Have you've seen like Can't Hardly Wait stuff like that?
I don't know. What that
Ah.
This is Clueless.
is. I have no idea.
Okay,
what
yeah,
that
it's
is.
not his
It has Paul Rudd in it. Ant-Man?
In Clueless?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paul
We're
Rudd.
getting off topic.
He plays her stepbrother and they have a romantic interest.
Yeah.
That's a little
It
weird.
was the 90s.
There's a lot of good stuff in the 90s. I mean, I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying like a lot of. Okay.
They weren't really related.
All right. No, but yeah, the 90s were interesting with their movies, definitely. All right, so The Lodge.
The Lodge.
It's hot as balls here.
It's hot shit. And I turned up the AC, but it's not getting any colder. So I took notes watching it. This is a pretty crazy movie. I mean, like in the first, I think I wrote it down, the first 10 minutes, shit goes, the first climax of the movie happens, which obviously we won't talk about it yet, but, you know.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and give them a like a pre-spoiler little, I thing?
figured that's what the synopsis was, right?
Yeah.
2 kids through a family trauma get stuck in a lodge, snowed in at a lodge with their soon-to-be stepmom,
In our words. So,
and things get weird.
okay. So, I guess from this point on is
You want to score it? Are you choking on one? You alright?
so from this point on are spoilers.
Okay, yeah, spoilers.
So
from here
if
on.
you do not want it spoiled, if you want to go ahead and watch the movie, then come back afterwards.
We just stopped watching the video.
Yeah.
But make sure and come back.
Yeah, make sure you come back and
watch that.
watch that, then watch this.
Well, do you want to do scores? Do you want to do scores?
Do you want to do scores last, or do you
I
want to
kind of want to do it
scores first?
now,
If
just
you
so
wanna
we
do
can
scores
go,
now.
so we can kind of go into it with an idea and have questions of why we scored it that way.
All right, so go ahead.
Is this a out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Out of
Okay.
10. And we're using decimals. Or can
Oh,
use
okay,
decimals.
okay. So
Okay. I don't
halves.
didn't think that hard about like
Oh, I'm thinking hard.
Well, just
This is-
think about it. This is like you're bending her mind right now.
We're using decimals? You don't have to use the decimals.
I'm trying to think when I'll score it.
What do you score it?
Yeah.
This is a solid, like, 8.9 or 9, honestly. If you're in the good mood to watch this kind of movie, this really depressing, fucked up movie, probably 9. Jay?
No, I agree with that. I think that's accurate enough.
A 9? You give it a 9 too? Or do you want to?
No, an 8.5 is definitely better than like other recent like horror movies. It's not quite horror, but the psychological aspect to it was
Super
like
scary.
super like scary. Yeah.
I give it a 6.5.
Whoa, okay, David.
I give it a 7.
That's just good. Why 6.5?
Well, that's what we're here for, isn't
Let's
it?
talk about it.
All right, go ahead, open it up then. You got the floor.
Like the first hour, because the way we usually end up watching movies is we'll watch like half of it, and then we'll like go to sleep, and then we'll watch the other half the next day. Because
We're full-time parents.
yeah,
So that's how that has to work for it.
and I go to bed super early. So we watched the first hour, and then that's when things finally started getting like really interesting. And so as soon as we got up after we took our son to school, I wanted to just keep watching the movie because I was like, okay, it just got interesting. And then it was really interesting, like the way that things were like happening, like what was going on. Did they die or not? Like what's happening? Is this all in her head? Like is she manifesting something, from something that happened to her? And I felt like there's this slow burn to get to where something actually happens. And then...
Which is a staple in psychological.
Which I liked it. It wasn't a bad thing. But then I feel like they revealed the twist way too early. And it was kind of predictable.
I even remember we were talking about it, and I had mentioned it midway through the movie. This is what's going to happen. And sure enough, it was pretty much spot on with the twist because they revealed the twist so early. And then we were left feeling kind of like, okay, so since they revealed the twist so early, there's got to be another twist. And that twist, that secondary twist never came? You know
What
I
would
mean?
be the other
Can you
twist?
guys
See, we didn't-
explain the twist?
Like, okay, so the kids, you find out that the kids are pranking her the
Right.
whole time because they're upset with her because they blame her for their mom killing herself. Which is understandable. But the way that I feel they revealed that they were pranking her, it wasn't surprising. It wasn't like a moment. It kind of happened, and then I was expecting, okay, well, since they revealed this part, there's still 30 minutes left of the movie. There's got to be something else that happens. And everything else that happened in the rest of the movie I felt wasn't surprising.
She went totally like Michael Myers on it.
She went crazy, and you
Well,
can't...
Yeah, she went crazy.
You can't... Yeah, but that's not... I was expecting something surprising. And there was nothing surprising about a
In the last 30 minutes.
traumatized woman being pushed to her breaking point. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good, but I was expecting something shocking. That
there
just
was
never
no real
happened.
shock. Yeah, there was no real shock to it. For us, at least. We were saying, there was just, we were waiting for that twist, and it never came. So we were just kind of like, okay. But it was still
It was
a
an
good movie.
entertaining
It was still
movie.
an entertaining movie.
Were you waiting for like a supernatural thing to happen?
Not
or-
necessarily.
Oh, I was... Because, they kept showing that they were, like, somehow, like, kind of connected to the dollhouse.
Oh, yeah. The
And
doll
so-
I want to talk about that.
I was
Okay.
kind of like thinking maybe there was going to be something there because when I didn't know anything about the movie when I watched it. I didn't know a trailer. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know if it was psychological. I didn't know if it was
roughly
horror.
explained, yeah.
Like I didn't know, and so I went in with like no real expectations. But I don't know, when they have the big reveal so long before the end of the movie, you expect for there to be something else
Right.
that's an even bigger reveal of like this is what's happening, or like there was actually something else going on, or
Right.
But as far as the paranormal thing that you brought up, we did suspect that maybe they were all dead because there's that one point in the movie where she was asking them, "Oh, with the gas, we're not all gonna
Yeah,
die?"
for
So
sure.
we were like, "Oh, maybe that's but it didn't, and it was fine. It didn't fit, a paranormal thing.
It wouldn't match this
It
movie.
wouldn't match
it would
the movie.
definitely cheapen it.
But what, like, okay, so what did you guys think? What was creepy about it? Because we had discussed it like very shortly before, and you guys said it was really, really creepy or something like that. So what was creepy?
Did we say creepy?
You guys said creepy. You guys were like, oh, we were, because I had mentioned the boobs.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about the boobs. No, because we mentioned that there's not a lot of boobs in modern day movies, and it shocked the hell out of us, at least, to see boobs.
boobs.
There's boobs, but they're in foreign films.
Yeah. Well, like, this wasn't a foreign film.
No.
Was it?
But
So
the directors,
The directors were Australian.
foreign directors, they can, make
so foreign people like boobs.
probably.
So we were like that took us for a spin real quick. We were just like, oh my gosh, boobs. And so then we brought that up with you guys. Hey, there's boobs in this movie, and you said, well, we weren't thinking about, or we didn't,
not
we missed the
mention the
boobs
boobs.
because we were spending the time being creeped out by the movie or something like that.
I guess not creeped out, more of just like depressed, like uncomfortably like drained or emotionally drained from the first half of the movie.
Yeah, that one scene leaves you really like.
I mean, it's like it's quick. The timestamp for that is 7:31 to 7:33 is when like that whole little sequence
Yeah.
starts to ends.
And that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and
pretty much.
that with it being so early, it gives you like a climactic beginning to be able to sit through about an hour of not really nothing happening, but a slower paced movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, because there's that huge jump. You're like, well, what the fuck is going on? Hooks you, it hooks you in with that to see what happens. And
So for anybody that does want to know, because obviously we're spoiling it right now,
yeah,
the scene that we're talking about is the suicide scene.
Yeah, the suicide scene of the kid's mother.
And we know that's a trigger for a lot of people out there. Some people can like watch gore till the cows come home, but
Right.
when it comes to suicide, it does trigger a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's a graphic scene.
And it is
And
a very
it's-
graphic scene.
It's very on screen.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you've watched Midsommar, it's got sort of the few gore graphic scenes that are in that felt really real. It wasn't as cheap as most like horror movies.
Yeah.
This felt real. Like obviously some there's internet videos and shit. People, committing suicide. It felt like watching one of those videos. It was quick. It felt real. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's like.
It's like you knew it was gonna happen, but
Well,
then you're
yeah.
like, maybe not, and
Yeah.
then like it just happens.
Maybe they'll cut away. Maybe they'll cut to a wall.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, it's just in your face.
I thought they were gonna like kind of just show the wall and then the blood splatter, or a little cutaway like that, or you see the house and you hear the
what they
the
usually
gunfire.
do in
Yeah.
movies.
But no, like they
it
just
was
they
very,
just
very
showed
In
it.
your face.
And to me, that was actually probably the creepiest part. I do agree.
Oh, yeah,
it was very
absolutely.
like unsettling the way she sits there, she just drinks her wine, like she's so like calm, and then just like boom.
And that's really that is a real, like it's a real issue. That's why it is probably the most disturbing part of the movie because of her, just the way she carried out doing it, and it's like wow, like what does it take? Like what's going on through people's heads as they're doing it, and it kind of makes you really, really wonder and think about that scene particularly. Really, just makes you think about all the people that do commit suicide. Like what is going on in their heads?
Mhm.
Are they nervous? Are they scared? Like what's going on with them that made them get to that point in the first place?
Well, she did it after her husband told her that he was gonna marry the other woman.
Yeah.
well,
Which-
The other main character.
So she was obviously still in
going
love
through
with him,
divorce
right?
or
So,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't remember it being hinted either. I remember it kind of coming out of nowhere.
It
Oh,
was,
yeah, it came out of
wasn't
nowhere.
hinted. It was straight up just
Yeah.
in your face.
Yep.
That's what happened.
For me, it made me really wonder, like, who is this woman? You know, that
Who's
her
the-
husband is
the
gonna
new
marry.
wife?
That she's pushed to the point, like that her kids had already mentioned that they didn't like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for him to be like, I'm gonna marry her, and then it pushes her immediately to the point where she kills herself. It's like, who the heck is this woman? Like, is she really young? Is she crazy? And then when you meet her, like, I mean, you find out she has a traumatized past,
Yeah.
but she seems like a nice
We
person.
don't
And-
even see her face
yeah.
until like
Yeah, that was
For-
20
interesting.
minutes into the
I
movie?
don't think it's 20 minutes.
A little less.
Maybe 20 minutes. But yeah,
It takes a while to see
her face is hidden. You see glimpses of like her silhouette through windows, but
Yeah.
and then when they reveal her, it's just
She
a
looks
normal
normal.
lady.
Yeah,
She's
it's like,
just
is
a
she
lady.
really young? Is she old? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
And then you find out that she was like the
She-
child of like a cult leader, and
She
she was
was-
brainwashed and
Yeah.
stuff.
Raised in a cult, and she was the sole survivor of their mass suicide led by her father.
Yeah. Oh, mass suicides
There's
are also very creepy. I have to just really point that out.
They're
yeah.
Like,
unsettling.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know, like how people let themselves get so like swayed.
It's the same thing
Into
as
that
any religion, man.
Well, yeah, no, yeah,
Which this
completely, I
movie
agree,
was
I agree.
deep in religious like connotations and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and what's the actress's name?
Her name.
The mom or the
Her-
new woman?
No, the new
The
woman.
stepmom.
We knew Alicia Silverstone was the mom.
The actress's name is Riley Coe, and her character name is Grace Marshall.
Okay, and we brought this up. Riley Coe is the granddaughter of Elvis Presley, which is crazy because I actually did a quick little like look into that. She had a younger brother, and her younger brother, I don't know. You might have to look it up, but I think he committed suicide.
Ooh.
Either he committed suicide or he died of like some kind of drug overdose. I don't know. I'm not. Don't quote me on that until we actually look it up. But
He was a spitting image of Elvis.
he was the spitting image of Elvis Presley. It was his grandson.
Danny Coe, was that his name?
I guess so.
How many kids did he have? Or I guess they're grandkids.
He's Elvis Presley. He
Um,
probably had a lot of kids.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know that much about Elvis.
I don't either.
their mom. I think their mom is Lisa Marie Presley, who is Elvis's daughter, obviously.
Hmm.
But that family's just wrapped up in all kinds of tragedy.
Oh wait, really quick. Her brother, his name is Benjamin Coe. He died by suicide in 2020.
Oh, fuck!
That was recent.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The year after the movie came out.
That's heavy stuff. So, anything else as far as like the creepiness? Like, you guys weigh on that? Like, did you guys really think?
That they were in purgatory?
Yeah.
No.
I was like going back and forth on it. I actually didn't mind that the reveal was pretty like early-ish. The reveal was she walks in on Aiden Hall, who is played by Jaden Martle. He seems to have hung himself, but he's still alive
He's
and
still
talking at her.
Yeah.
And he's trying to convince her that we are in purgatory to mess with her. I didn't mind that so much because the rest of the movie was them
Potentially
dealing with the consequences of them
Potentially
torturing,
being in purgatory.
torturing and messing with this.
Oh,
woman.
yeah.
Yeah.
So so you didn't think it was
I
they
didn't
were in
think it-
purgatory, or did it fool you at all?
Well, I was going back and forth on it, but then the twist happens, and I'm like, okay, they're not. But now they're gonna deal with the consequences of this woman that they pushed
Yeah,
her
they
to a
fucked
breaking
with really
point.
bad.
To a point where she's not coming back.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that
showed up.
sucks.
Did you guys know that he's the king dwarf in The Hobbit?
No way!
Yes!
That's awesome!
Yes, look it up.
He's
Look it up.
fucking
Yes.
Thor Oakenshield?
Yes.
That's so cool. He
Go
doesn't
ahead,
look
Rachel.
anything like
What?
him.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was
She's
wondering
like,
why I thought he was
God
hot.
damn.
So.
She's like, why is this guy so hot? Let's put a beard on him. She figured it out.
I liked him better as Thorn.
But so as far as the twist goes, it's what's it called? It's foreshadowed in the beginning. like right before they leave, they zooms in on his backpack. He's got the harness thing. It's shown that he can do wall climbing stuff, so it makes sense that he has the harness stuff.
Yeah.
Because his bedroom has the wall climbing stuff on it.
Okay.
Well, a nice little detail to pick
I
up.
forgot he had that. I was wondering, how did he get a harness?
Yeah, no,
and
he rock climbs.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's ever mentioned, but the kid rock
kinda like
climbs.
hinted at.
Yeah, the kid can rock climb. So he has the harness equipment. And it makes sense that he'd know how to hang himself
Yeah.
without hanging himself. But, so it was foreshadowed really early. And I was like, this is what's going to happen. And the one part that I thought was crazy, because the whole time, she's kind of going through her breakdown, there's voices of her dad that she can hear, and that's constantly going of like her old recordings of
recorded.
yeah. And then after it shows that he hung himself, quote unquote hung himself, it'll play you'll hear the voices, and then it kind of just zooms in into the attic that they're standing in, or that they hang out in, and there's a little microphone. And
Yeah,
that's
you can
what's
see
playing. I was like, oh,
other,
shit, that's
and
so
you can see the harness and all
Yeah.
that stuff sitting there. One thing that I did kind of think that it could have been early on in the movie, because I figured out like kind of the twist midway through the movie, but or the twist, I don't know if it was supposed to be, I don't know, but
the climax.
yeah, early on in the movie I thought it could have been, and it would have been somewhat interesting, is that the kids, through doing research on her, looking up all the videos of her dad and the sermons and stuff like that they became brainwashed.
They went crazy?
And that they're the ones that, they went crazy. They started believing what they were seeing through, and that they were actually trying to
Get her back into the
get
cult.
her back into the cult, because she was kind of maybe like some deity
that
or
one
some
came from
chosen.
out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. That would have, that I thought would have been interesting, and that's something that I kind of thought could have been a possibility.
But then that would kind of make the ending less impactful if the kids were in on it.
I thought the kids might have actually been crazy, they themselves.
Oh, they were fucking crazy. Those
sociopathic.
kids were
Oh,
assholes.
yeah, they were
Or at least the
sociopaths.
older one, the little girl, wasn't super into it.
Yeah.
I don't think that she had much to do with the planning, but the older kid's a little asshole.
Do you guys think they killed the dog on purpose, or if that was an
I think that
accident?
was an accident.
I
Complete
think it was
accident.
an accident, but it's still messed up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, the dog dies.
Oh yeah.
I think we should probably lead with that one too.
Actually, there's it's funny that you
The
mentioned
website.
The website,
The
yeah,
website.
yeah.
The dog dies or something, or the dog.
Does the
dead?
dog
Does
die?
the dog
Does
die?
the dog die? Yeah.
I
So
check that
for-
sometimes for other like triggers for him and
we
stuff.
we should sort of do their job. Let's just do what they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we already
What's
kind
the-
of dropped a
what's
little
the
trip.
boob timestamp, David?
The boob staff.
Do you have that? Did you not write it down?
8008.
8:08 on the dot. No. Oh, but for anybody who doesn't know, Does the Dog Die? It's a site that you can go visit that has pretty much just a bunch of triggers on there, and
It's all community fueled.
yeah, community. So people go on and they post different triggers from different movies, and they also include movies that have dogs, whether the dog dies or not, which is kind of the kicker.
Yeah, a
But
lot of
obviously,
a
not
big
all
thing for people.
movies have dogs.
What were you saying?
So the dog belonged to Grace. It was kind of like her therapy dog. Not necessarily therapy, but it definitely did help with her mental problems. They also took her clothing and her medication that she obviously really needed, which was messed up.
That's fucked up.
You think looking up all that stuff about her, you think they'd okay, this might be too far. Literally taking
You'd
her
think,
medication
right?
away.
I think they wanted to push her to do what their mom did,
Probably, I could see
but
that.
it
definitely.
backfired on them, and she.
I
ended
never
up-
thought of that. Do you think they wanted her to commit
Like
suicide?
the kid wanted
The little
her
girl-
to kill herself.
The little girl,
She's
like
young.
you said, she was not.
She
All the
she
way
was
in on
totally
You could
not
tell
down
she
with
was
it.
kind of connecting to her,
Yeah.
And she felt bad about the dog. and stuff.
I wanted a dog, but my dad says no, and they had some bonding moments, but I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
No, yeah. I don't think she was 100% in on it.
She seems too young to do anything like that. The
Right.
other kid was 15, 16 in the movie. Definitely within the age of being a dumbass
Yeah.
and doing some stupid shit like that.
I thought it was gonna be like a Goodnight Mommy situation. Have y'all ever seen that one?
No.
It's a foreign film. It's actually, I think, directed by the same people that directed The Lodge.
Is it?
Goodnight Mommy is about this woman. She gets into a really bad accident and like leaves her disfigured.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
talked about this.
And when she gets back home, her twin sons, they don't think that's their actual mom. So what they do is they begin to like
I heard of
torture
that,
her
yeah,
and
yeah.
mess with her. It's pretty similar to The Lodge, kind of, except the kids in The Lodge obviously weren't like total
Super, yeah,
sociopathic.
yeah.
But the
Yeah.
kids in that movie
Yeah.
weren't
'Cause they-
as sociopath.
I think they drive her to kill herself, I think, at the end because they just don't think that's their mom. They think she's a totally new person because she comes back home like all bandaged, so they can't even see her face.
We should
Yeah.
watch that one.
Yeah,
That
I've
one
never
sounds like a
seen
good
it,
movie.
so
What
that's
year
just
did it
I
come
know.
out?
2014.
We should watch that one. That one sounds pretty rad.
We'll look into it. You guys know how we feel about foreign films.
God damn it, David.
Or at least me. I don't know about you.
I have no opinion really.
No opinion on foreign films.
I
The
haven't
few that I've seen are
seen
good.
any. I like a few, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
Mm. I on my notes here I have lasagna for Thanksgiving. That's depressing. Cause like it earlier or later on in the movie they show like home videos of their mom, and there's like a whole Thanksgiving meal and stuff. But in the beginning, because this happens right around Thanksgiving, or at least it skips. There's a time skip to
It's like
when
right before
Thanksgiving.
Christmas.
Oh yeah. So yeah, there's a time skip at some point. Maybe she killed herself.
I think it was 6 months later. She kills herself, and then there's a 6 month time
A
jump.
gap, and then it's Thanksgiving, and the thing like they have, shitty Thanksgiving stuff out in the house, and it's like lasagna and looks
You
like
can tell the
canned
mom
food,
probably
but-
did all the cooking.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
stuff.
and it's
They
like
did, yeah.
super depressing looking, just a really bad looking Thanksgiving dinner. And that's one of my notes.
That's kind of like that reminds me of myself before I got married. When I
Just
lived in that apartment by myself.
depressing
Yeah, just depressing.
Thanksgiving.
I had Doritos for Thanksgiving and stuff. I had Doritos for lunch and dinner and yeah.
So depression.
Hey, despite all that, I was still kind of I had my spirits up. I was still happy. You guys spent a lot of times with me.
Yeah, we were weekends a lot.
Yeah. But
What
yeah.
else do you have in your notes?
Let's see. The cinematography is pretty great in this
We
movie.
actually did enjoy the cinematography.
It was-
like the shots. And
It
stuff
was
like
really
that.
well shot. A lot of the scenes are really centered, which sometimes don't work, but in movies like this that are meant to be unsettling or
Yeah.
It works that it's unsettling. Like
Mhm.
it's supposed to be, and you're like, something's just not quite right.
yeah,
you
and
know.
the fact that the shot is centered is really weird for a movie. There's not a lot of movies that do it. They're kind of starting to do it. A lot of indie films have done it pretty well. And I noticed that timestamp. I thought it was interesting. What was it? Timestamp was 7:31. Right before, like when she sits down and just kind of has her wine or whatever, there's a cross behind her. Thought it was weird that she's on the. I think she was on the right side of the cross, which in the Bible I think the one on the right was the one that wouldn't accept Jesus. Since this is a really like heavily religious movie, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I thought that was an interesting like placement of the crosses when things like that, because obviously killing yourself in the religion that they're in, Christianity or Catholicism is a huge sin or whatever, and that's a big part. The little girl when she, there's a part where she breaks
she
down.
said,
She's
yeah,
like, she's not
she's
going to heaven.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is,
she's
like,
not going to
super
heaven.
fucked up.
That was really sad. That was really depressing. Yeah, I thought about it because you guys kept saying it's just really, really depressing.
This is a fucking
Yeah.
demoralizing movie, dude. Don't watch this movie. When shouldn't you watch this movie? When you're depressed?
I
Or
would
would that make
say
the
I would
movie
say
better?
if you like have dealt with some form like with suicide, if you have know somebody that have done it, or you are even thinking about it, I would probably say
Avoid
to avoid the movie, because I don't know, man. It really does hits home, I guess. You think about those things, but that's kind of where I would say you draw the line. If you if you're weighing in on stuff like that, or like I said, if somebody around you has recently done it or something, or even not just recently,
Just in general.
In
has
general,
done it. This
yeah.
could be a huge trigger, which we've.
Also, like a religious trauma.
Oh yeah, religious trauma. I mean, this is taking religious trauma to like
Extreme.
the extreme. Yeah. But yeah, all my notes I have Heaven's Gate cult or cultish.
So, here's a question. That picture that they keep showing,
That is such
What?
an awesome picture.
it's really weird. What is that like? Is that like part of their religion? Is that their deity?
I
Like,
think
what
that's
is
just-
that? That's not
Virgin
Christianity.
Mary.
That is so not Virgin Mary.
I don't remember. I think that's what I think they say it in the movie.
Like, that is a really.
know
I've
if I-
never seen
It's
the
such
Virgin
a
Mary look
fucking
like that.
pretty painting though, dude. I want that painting.
It's creepy.
It's awesome.
But that really makes me feel like it wasn't just like Christianity that they were.
Well, because the cult that she was in, because the family in general is a Christian family, or
Because that picture was in the video that she was shooting.
Cult
When-
was an extremist Christian cult.
an extremist Christian cult, but the regular family, they were just they were
and they
just
had
religious.
that. They had those pictures.
They had that frame of the Virgin. Is it the Virgin Mary?
The Virgin Mary with like a bloody nose,
I think that's.
Oh no,
the
she
bloody
her nose
is there just
her nose
for the-
blood. Yeah.
just for the poster.
for the poster. But can you find anything about that painting?
I think they just wanted to put maybe something of their own in the movie that's kind of like somewhat recognizable, but also unsettling because it's not.
But it's really not something that you see in the actual.
It's not an
Christian
actual
religion.
religious painting. I think they just wanted to put something
You
in
think
that's like
someone-
almost recognizable, but it's unsettling because it's disturbing everyone around them.
That's interesting.
It's not. It's disturbing the girl.
Yeah.
It's disturbing the one that was in the cult. What was her name?
Grace.
Grace,
It's an
yeah.
Is
actual
that?
painting.
See, it's a painting.
Antonio de Messina.
It's a little different in the movie. I think they might have changed some stuff
They
in it.
made it a lot darker.
They kind of
Yeah.
she has a little bit of a
Movie.
smile here, but it's a real painting.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with my theory.
Yeah, I like
Well, see, but they modified it.
Yeah,
they
they-
modified
To
it.
make it unsettling.
They
It's
definitely
really
changed
darker.
it.
Yeah, it looks really gothic almost. But like,
it's a, yeah, the gold leafing isn't behind her in the original.
I like how movies do that. Like they will take something and kind of
Innocent
twist it.
or
Well, like okay, that for example, I've never really seen like a religion, but I also don't really study religion or anything like that. But I've never seen in the Christian religion that picture circulated or
Right.
that painting or whatever circulated so much. So, but they obviously they make it their own for the movie,
right.
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, okay, is this Christianity? You're questioning because of that picture. Is this Christianity? Is it something more sinister? Like, what kind of religion is this? Like, it really has you questioning the religion. That's not the point of the podcast or anything like that.
I'd love to get into religion, David.
Huh?
I'd love to get into religion.
I know you would, but like, I'm not obviously not gonna touch too much on that. Like, I'm not sure, but that's one thing that has always scared me about heaven and hell, right? Because if hell is real, so supposedly if you die, you go to hell and you live out for all eternity your worst fears. Can you imagine waking up in hell, trapped in a little tunnel, and you're just having to crawl
Or you
through?
can't move.
Yeah,
like-
you're having to crawl through that tunnel for all eternity. Unable to breathe, unable to drink, unable to see. Just you're in a little like tiny little tunnel where only you could barely fit for all eternity. So thinking about that, I'm like, holy crap! Do I need to get my like priorities straight? Because I don't want to go to hell, but at the same time, I'm like, but I don't know if I believe in hell. Like,
Yeah,
so
it's like,
scares me, you know? Like,
is it just a fear tactic that religion uses?
Right,
To
exactly.
give you into their religion.
exactly.
And then you have the huge mob mentality once you have that organized religion, and it just goes pretty downhill, as we've seen in history.
But it
The
does.
dark
But
ages
but
and
it's
shit.
kind. But for me, it's kind of like, man. Like, I hope it's not real because I don't want to wake up in that situation. You know, I don't want to like freaking die and then there I am standing before the man and he's like, "Sorry, dude."
Get your ass down
No.
I had a thought. I mean, we'll see if we don't get too into religion here.
Well, I
But-
mean, it's premise of the movie. We're still kind of.
I guess it is.
touching
But
on
I had a thought like a couple weeks ago. If there are celestial creatures or beings that, have this omnipotent power, have extreme power, why would they give a shit about us? Who fucking cares about us? What on this little fucking rock, what's so significant about us being here? Why would these giant creatures that have omnipotent power or just an insane amount of power fucking care? You know what I mean?
What did you are you talking about specifically of
Any
like
kind of
being
deity,
or
any-
God?
God is.
Do you
would
think
consider-
God is an alien?
Well,
If there
you
is a God,
think
you think
about
God's
it,
an alien.
it would probably be not an. I mean, maybe foreign to Earth, so technically an alien, but it'd probably be like a fourth dimensional creature. Honestly, if angels and demons existed, it'd probably be alternate dimension not alternate dimensions, but higher level dimension creatures.
Yeah. So it's funny that you, well, not funny, but like, if you since you mentioned that, I'll bring it up. We're all big nerds here, so we watch anime and read manga and stuff like that. But in Gantz, did you ever read Gantz?
I watched the movie that was on Netflix.
I don't know because I didn't watch the anime, but I read the whole series, and so spoilers again,
On
guys.
Gantz.
On Gantz.
If you're interested in that.
So yeah,
It's pretty old. It's fine.
So at the end of Gantz, you find out that it's beings like these ultimate super alien beings that are creating all of this that are doing everything. And they asked them why, and the answer is pretty simple: because we can.
Because we can.
Because we have the power and we like to fuck with you, and here you go.
That's how it ends.
That's yes and no.
It's disappointing.
It's disappointing, but
That seems to be the most logical.
that's
way.
just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that
that's
sounds
that's
fair.
the least disappointing part of that
You
manga.
can disappoint me more later.
I will, man. I've been. So, any future picks? Any future movies that you'd like to delve into, particularly?
so many.
You mentioned Mouth of Madness and the
I
Mouth of
think
Madness.
From Beyond might be my
From
next
Beyond.
one, honestly.
Jenny, any movies that you'd like to kind of, maybe like a movie or two that you're thinking about?
I wanted to pick As Above, So Below to talk about.
It's a
next.
good one. Yeah, we thought about that one too. Any other ones? Like any other one?
It's definitely As Above, So Below. Next.
I want to watch 10 Cloverfield Lane next.
Oh yeah,
we
that's
gotta
one
watch
that we're.
one.
I kind of question that one because it's not very horror.
No,
But it-
well,
It's very suspense.
so is The Lodge.
The Lodge
Yeah.
isn't.
That's
I
so
think.
horror.
I think
you're-
The Lodge is more horror than 10 Cloverfield Lane, but
I don't know, being trapped
But
in
if
a
you guys-
bunker
hey,
with
I feel
John
like,
Goodman
like
is
your
gonna be
idea of
scary.
horror is kind of limited, David.
huh?
I feel like your idea of horror is kind of limited.
Are
'Cause
you
that's-
serious? The Thing, The
No, no, no,
Blob.
no, those are horror movies, but like branching out, like thrillers
Suspense
can
is
be
like-
considered.
Oh
horror.
no, I'm absolutely not being narrow-minded about that. I absolutely think that suspense could be in the same genre of horror, but like, I don't know. I just don't feel like 10 Cloverfield Lane is actually horror. Have you guys seen it
I
yet?
haven't seen it.
Not yet.
I understand, like, where you're coming from, you know?
Yeah.
But also look at the series of movies that it's a part of.
The Cloverfield movies.
So I would say it's considered a part of, like,
If
a
you-
horror
yeah,
franchise.
if you look at the-
Would you
in
consider
general, like, yeah.
Cloverfield, or would it be a kaiju movie?
It'd be like a monster. Yeah,
It's a kaiju
It's a
movie,
kaiju
dude.
movie. Yeah.
So
it's
okay,
obviously
would you
kaiju,
consider
but would That-
card jar? Would you
Because
consider-
I mean,
But it's like a sci-fi horror.
yeah.
I would
see
say it consider because
It
it's
depends on the presentation.
it's scary. Like
Yeah.
Godzilla
I was gonna bring that
is
up,
not
Wacky.
scary.
but I will say so. Not to go too far on a Godzilla tangent.
We're already straight far from
Oh yeah, but let's continue. The
This is way far from the last.
so far. We're on Godzilla right now. The original, I don't know, 1950s, 1940s movie. Well, probably 1950s, but the original movie was obviously about the horrors of war and the horror effect, the nuclear bombs that went off, which is fucking horrific.
Nagasaki,
I mean, that was
Hiroshima.
like one of the worst things we've done to anyone
Yeah.
or any country, is just bombing them. And I mean, there's a bunch of other nuclear stuff that we've, people talk about them, but where they tested those in that bikini islands or whatever.
Yeah.
The native people from that island got fucked up because they were testing on the island. They were testing nuclear bombs. But Godzilla, when it first came out, it was a horrific movie of horrific things that happened. And very much, I think, an anti-war movie. And for the time, it was horror.
Okay.
And obviously, it got really campy and dumb in the 80s, but there's still Godzilla movies, and they're still awesome.
Yeah.
What movie would you want to watch next?
I'm thinking, I don't know if this goes back to 70s. I think it does. But I'm thinking that one movie with the, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot. Tourist Trap.
With the boobs.
I don't think there's boobs in that.
No. Tourist Trap.
Tourist
Which
Trap.
one was that one?
That's
you
the
mentioned
With the
this.
Shea St.
With-
John
Shea
mask.
Son of
St.
a
John.
bitch, yes.
Oh, speaking of Shea St. John, that's one of those YouTube things that we are
We'll talk
so
about
gonna
Shea,
talk
yeah.
about.
If
If
y'all
we could even
haven't-
get to that when we watch that movie. In fact, I think
we
that
can-
might
we
be
can go off
something.
that. If y'all haven't seen, what was the early 2000s YouTube?
Shea St. John, I think dates back to the 90s. We'll have to really
No
look.
fucking way.
Look,
dude.
look it up. Look it up. Shea St. John.
It's got to be. Well, obviously the movie or the videos weren't uploaded on YouTube until early 2006 or whatever, or maybe, well, obviously later than that. But pretty much like an early.
First appearance, 1999.
What the fuck?
Told you. Yeah, so
Yeah,
let's go
let's go
ahead and
take
take
a
a
break.
break, and we'll
My back hurts.
we'll
The resident pregnant ladies. back there.
yeah.
So we're gonna give it a second. We're gonna give it a
We'll
minute.
be back in just a little bit. All right, so we're back. And,
So we're back. Went off on a little tangent before the little break that we had, but y'all didn't.
A big tangent.
A pretty huge tangent, but we're
We
segueing
strayed
it
off,
back.
yeah.
Segueing it back to the movie. I think the last thing we mentioned was the Virgin Mary painting in the
Yeah.
back that was referenced or not referenced, but shown a lot, and how religion is kind of a big point in this film with the girl being in a cult and like an extremist Christian cult, and the kids and the father being also religious, but not to that certain extent. But we didn't mention, and I feel like it's kind of an important part, the girl that was in the cult, so the new wife or the new mom or whatever, she was being studied by the husband. So he was writing a book, and she was the main focus of the book. I don't know. Did you guys notice that, or do y'all remember that?
maybe that's why we should take notes.
Probably.
But, yeah.
What was he, like a psychiatrist?
He was
or
he was a psychiatrist or a therapist, and he was studying her. He was writing a book on her, and they ended up falling in love. And that's kind of, so it kind of
I think we did
shows.
notice that.
It shows that problems must have started pretty early with this woman.
Yeah.
So that's just a little interesting thing that you can pick up in the movie while you're watching it.
Here's something that I was thinking about. Why do you think she was the lone survivor? Was she supposed to kill herself too? Or was the father leaving her alive on purpose for her to carry out some kind of, I don't know, some kind of thing later on? Is she supposed to take his spot and then continue his legacy? Like, why do you think she lived?
I don't know if it's explained, but my guess, because, it's very much a Heaven's Gate style cult or whatever, but they left a few members when they had their mass suicide back in the, whatever, 70s or 80s, I don't remember, 90s? They left, I think, 2 members alive, and they have an active website still of Heaven's Gate. I don't know if they still recruit people or anything. Maybe, I assumed it was something like that. She was meant to be left alive to continue sort of running the cult or something. and obviously, you know, they find a mass suicide. They're not going to let this girl kind of
Go back
continue
into that,
being a cult leader or a cult member.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she chickened out and didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Who knows?
Well, that's interesting. I thought about that throughout the thing, like, and I guess I just kind of assumed that she was meant to carry on,
To continue the cult or whatever.
which brings up like my point earlier, why I thought the kids like that was supposed to be the twist or whatever. Why the kids were watching the thing. They were going to be like, oh, we're interested in this. And then and it loops back. They remind her of her prophecy. They remind her of what she's supposed to carry out and do. And they kind of like resurrect through her their
cult.
their cult
That,
or
yeah,
their,
that makes
their
sense actually.
yeah, their god or whatever.
Yeah,
their
that would have also
deity.
been a pretty crazy, you know, alternate ending for the movie or something. Yeah.
But she lived at the end, right?
No,
They just-
dude, I think they all died.
It's a
Oh, that's
cliffhanger.
right. It's left
So-
up for
It's a cliffhanger,
interpretation.
Yeah. So in my notes I wrote, at the end of my notes I write, I think I'm trying too hard. But pretty much like the movie kind of ends. So once she figures out that, you know, or once she's gone completely crazy, she kills the dad. You know, she thinks that they're still in purgatory, and she ends up killing the dad with the revolver that they had in the house, and she, so sort of the ending scene, I guess, or the ending, like the last couple minutes is, she props the dad up on the kitchen table, and she's on one side, and you know, the kids are aside from her, and she's sort of facing that painting, and it's just really cinematically good, but you know, she's doing the whole thing with the duct tape over the mouth that says sin, and she's
Like
bringing
they-
it back to the original
Yeah,
cult
it
that
went
she was
full
in.
circle.
Yeah, and it kind of just ends with them having like Christmas dinner with their dead dad, and it's pretty much left to assume that the kid die, and she probably killed herself too.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much the ending is, there's no satisfying ending. There's no special, you know, good ending. Not that there usually are any good endings in movies like this, but
yeah, I
it's
wouldn't have figured there would be.
pretty much left to be hopeless. Like, you just feel hopeless at the end of the movie.
Those kids sucked, but I was rooting for them to get away when they did manage to like get out of the lodge and into the truck, but it wouldn't start, or like they couldn't get it to move. Through
No,
the
yeah, it wouldn't hit traction, so they were just kind of like revving
and
the
it,
engine.
like it's the camera is on them, and then it slowly pans away to them like struggling to get it on.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's like, I don't know.
Cinematically beautiful.
It's kind of funny because I mentioned, I was like, am I supposed to feel sorry for these kids? Because I think they got what they
Fucked
deserved.
up.
You don't, like, they messed with a woman that they knew was unstable. They took away her medication. Like, the older boy,
It was super.
he
it
was
dick?
old enough to understand what could have happened. He's locked himself in a house with a crazy woman.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, I'm not saying, like, I'm happy that they
The
died,
kids are dead.
but at the same time, like, they had to take responsibility for what they did. What they did to her was really
They didn't
screwed
take
up.
responsibility. She took the responsibility.
I don't think the end goal was to get her to kill herself. I think they were just trying to drive her away. They didn't expect her to like have like this really bad nervous breakdown and then mentally enter the state she was in when she was like still part of the cult.
Yeah.
I don't think they expected that to happen.
No, I don't think they obviously planned for what happened to happen, but I don't know. I didn't feel sorry for the kids at the end. I mean, I guess I feel kind of sorry for the little girl because
She
Yeah.
didn't have much to do with
she
it.
wasn't orchestrating it. She was just kind of following along with what her brother was doing.
Yeah.
But the boy, he was old enough to understand what could happen and the danger that he was putting him and his sister in, and he just didn't care. He just wanted to look at her boobs and then drive her crazy.
Yeah, right.
So another thing that I mentioned was I wanted to mention was the the little sea monkeys. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
do you think what do those
What does that
represent? Because the little girl obviously liked them. She took care of them. She like toted them around everywhere, and it's just I find it odd that she would just let them die for this prank, or was that part of their deception?
I
Was
feel
that
like
part of what they were
that
doing?
now that you're talking about it, I didn't really pay much attention to the sea monkeys, but it feels more like they bought them knowing what they were gonna do, and that was gonna be sort of like how the dog died.
Yeah.
That was supposed to show that time has passed, that these things have died, but I don't know. I don't know if they have any deeper meaning to them.
Because, like, it's just, like, you see her one day, like, feeding the sea monkeys, and they're talking about him, and then, like, 2 days later pass, and they're dead, and the water's murky, and stuff like that, as if a lot of time had passed.
Yeah. I think they were just there as part of the trick. The sea monkeys were there as part of the trick. What do you got?
This article says it was probably like foreshadowing or implying that no one was gonna make it out of this lodge alive. Yeah.
Yeah, because even in their little when they left their house or whatever, and the dad found that the dollhouse and everybody in the dollhouse was dead. I guess it's maybe a representation, like, this is how it is going to end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which in my notes I did have. I really enjoyed the cuts between the dollhouse and the actual lodge.
Yeah.
One, I fucking love miniatures, and like miniature lodge. It looks super cool.
It did look really cool. That's why I'm a huge fan of like stop motion and stuff like that. Like,
just the
did you guys ever watch
aspect.
Beetlejuice?
Mm-hmm.
Because they did a lot of that. They filmed a lot of that on like like little miniatures and stuff. And it looked, when I was a kid, I was so confused. I was like, is this real? What's going on here? Like, I was so confused because they were shooting everything on miniatures.
Yeah.
Like, and I just think that's really cool. I love watching movies like the behind the scenes thing, like the Titanic and stuff like that. They shot miniatures and they just basically let a water hose just blast through, and that's how they made it look like water was just coming into this hall. Like, I just think that it's really cool. And again, that goes back to like the practicals and stuff that I'm all about.
But yeah, it wasn't any crazy shots like that, but panning through the miniature house, the amount of detail that was in the miniature lodge compared to the real one was really cool.
Yeah, and another thing with the miniatures is like the actual lodge itself seemed smaller. And I don't know if it's because they kept going back and forth between showing the miniature and the actual.
It felt really like you're stuck in the lodge.
Yes,
with
exactly.
Them.
Like they were like the ceiling was so close to their heads, and like the hallways were narrow, and
the rooms were small.
The rooms were small, and it's like, man, this really feels like the actual miniature.
Yeah, they're stuck in there.
Yeah,
they would be stuck in some horrible miniature purgatory or something.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else to add?
I think my favorite aspect of the movie was the way they represented or foreshadowed what was gonna happen through the dollhouse. I thought that was really creative.
Yeah,
I love creativity in movies. That's why I was I guess big into Midsommar and stuff, which this movie kind of reminds me of that.
It's got that feel of dread.
Yeah,
it's just pure dread because it's
psychological.
It feels real.
Nothing good is happening.
Yeah.
And with that movie, it's just the way they shot it again, just like this movie, the cinematics, and just filming a beautiful field of flowers and stuff like that. You just say, oh, nothing bad can happen here. Bam!
Something bad.
Wow. Just
or a really nice lodge.
Exactly.
The mountains of whatever state they're in, and bam, something bad happens.
The movie reminded me a lot about The Shining, just not supernatural.
The
way she was slowly driven to madness, like how Jack from The Shining was.
Yeah.
Except The Shining is supernatural.
Homer goes something. Every time I think of this, do you remember that part?
The was it a Treehouse?
Treehouse of Horror, yeah.
Yeah.
That was great, dude. We definitely
Treehouse of
yeah,
Horrors?
Treehouse of
Alright.
Horrors, dude. We went through this
Some
last.
of those are scary.
I know we went through. We watched this last
Halloween.
Halloween, and we watched
Do
all
they
of them
still
with
do 'em?
Rowan. Yeah, well, I don't know. They still
They
currently
can't be
make
as
them,
good.
but there's
There
some.
were a couple new ones that weren't bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
but still, I think one of the best ones is where Homer eats himself. That would be great.
And he eats himself?
He cooks himself slowly.
He like grills himself.
He
I don't
grills.
remember. I don't
Okay,
watch that one.
It's
okay.
a it's a newer one.
Yeah, well, kind of new. Say like 6 years ago.
So,
But yeah, back to
I mean, yeah, that's the end of the movie, I guess.
That's the
They
end
end
of
up
the movie.
dying, or like,
They leave it
um,
up for interpretation, but I mean,
they
it's pretty
totally
simple.
died.
They totally. It's pretty simple to find it. Yeah.
but yeah, pretty depressing, hopeless,
Ending.
jury dramatic,
Yeah.
fucking the worst ending you could think of.
So I guess before we close this out, let's go ahead and just like our rating system, do you put this movie in your top 10?
100%.
So you do put this movie in your top 10.
I think, let's see.
As of now, this is a clean slate, so technically we can all put this in our top
As,
10.
like, just,
But
yeah. As
yes,
number 10. For me, this one lands at a solid. Damn, this is like a solid 4 or 3. It's in the top 5 for me. I think this is a solid 4. This is
Okay.
4.
Us
Yeah,
four.
4.
I'd have to think about it. I definitely think it should be like up there.
so as of now, yes or no?
As of now, I want to say I'd put it maybe at 10, but it has the possibility to move up.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Same here. Not.
Did y'all enjoyed it, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It was very enjoyable. We liked it, and there will be movies where I'll just say no. This
Oh,
movie was
sure.
awful, and again we've mentioned it before. We have different tastes in movies, so there's gonna be movies where you guys are like, this is a solid like 5 for me, a solid like it's in my top 5, and we're gonna be like, we hate it. and vice versa. There's gonna be movies that we're gonna be like, yeah.
What was
You
that
guys are
one
gonna
that
hate
y'all liked? Was it Friend Request?
Yeah.
Oh no.
We liked
Unfriended.
You guys,
guys-
liked
Friend
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 Request.
request.
Unfriended.
We didn't like it. We just liked that one. We liked that they used the technology as like black mirrors.
Because
We thought that was like creative.
scrying through
Yeah.
Black Mirrors, but we'll get into that later.
The story could have been better.
Yeah, it could have been. There's flaws with a lot of movies.
We'll have
that
to
we
rewatch.
like, but-
We'll have to rewatch that. We're probably gonna rewatch all of the Unfriended, Friend Request, and Friend Request 2 or whatever. Unfriended 2.
So, I guess this is concluding the lodge for us, but I guess we can talk about what's going to be our next movie. Have we decided so that the listeners or watchers can watch that before the next episode? Is there any
10 Cloverfield Lane.
10 Cloverfield
10
Lane. It is.
Cloverfield Lane will be the
We'll have to rewatch it.
next week's video.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. That
I
one's
wanna
gonna
go
be
watch that one.
yeah. That one's gonna be interesting.
It has Sully in it.
I guess that's it.
That's it.
I think we're done here.
Well, until next time.
See ya.
Bye, guys.